Hey everyone, Johnny here. Don't Speak News. Just want to thank everyone to start this episode for the prayers, the well wishes, the nice emails, even for the not nice emails. So be it, right? You get the good with the bad. But I want to thank everyone for their well wishes and prayers. My mouth is feeling better today. The swelling is way down since they took care of the abscess, and the tooth will get pulled next week. But in the meantime, I feel well enough to do a show today, so I'm going to go ahead and do one. So here we go. We'll just get into it like we always do. Where should we start is the question. Well, let's start here. Nuclear war in Iran? Question mark. Everyone is watching Professor Jiang's predictions. However, nobody's watching Professor Jiang. I think that's how you pronounce it. And yes, I've watched his YouTube channel a couple times. And yes, I watched part of his interview with Tucker Carlson. And yes, I understand how accurate he's been. From his predictions of Trump winning in 2024, the election that is, and then to his predictions on the war with Iran. You know, all of this has been very, very accurate, almost like he's reading from the script, you know. If we didn't know better, he might be. Just like we were talking about last week, where this whole thing feels scripted, and I showed you that 4chan posting that Hal Turner put up, showing you how everything was going to go. And so far, that was proving to be accurate. And so, is nuclear war coming in Iran? Yeah, at some point, I'm sure it will be. Just don't know exactly when. But the question is now, who does Jiang really work for? So he predicted the Iran war a year before it happened. He also got deported from China as a suspected CIA asset. Funny how nobody's talking about that part. No, Tucker Carlson didn't mention it either. Not that I've seen. So here it is. This is the Wise Wolf over on Substack. He says, I swear I'm not making this up. In May of 2024, a man named Jiang Zequin stood in front of a classroom in Beijing and predicted that Donald Trump would win the election, that America would attack Iran, and that America would lose. This is the kind of prediction that if you made it at a dinner party, would cause your spouse to start a quiet conversation with the hostess about whether you'd been sleeping enough. But the bombs started falling, and suddenly 100,000 people subscribed to this man's channel in 3 days, and Newsweek called him China's Nostradamus, and Tucker Carlson gave him an hour of airtime. And 3 million Americans watched and said, finally, a man with answers. 3 million Americans did not Google him first. I want to stress that I'm not making any of this up. Jiang's predictive methodology is called psychohistory, which is a word Isaac Asimov invented in 1942 for a science fiction novel about a galactic empire collapsing. It's not a real science. It is not even a fake science. It's a fictional science from a novel which Asimov made up because he was a fiction writer. And that is the kind of thing fiction writers do. Jiang named his approach after the source material, which suggests either he's not trying very hard to disguise the origin, or B, he genuinely believes a method of predicting global warfare can be sourced from the same shelf as Dune and the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which, now that I think about it, would explain a lot about the last few years of American foreign policy. He calls himself Professor Jiang. His Harvard connection is a listing in an education reform think tank, which is to a Harvard professorship what finding a quarter in the parking lot is to owning the Olive Garden. His Yale degree is real, class of 1999, English literature. So he's qualified to have strong opinions about Edith Wharton. He is not qualified to tell 3 million people how nuclear war works. But 3 million people did not ask for his transcript because this is America after all. And in America, we have a proud tradition of getting our geopolitical analysis from whoever has the most confident voice and the least amount of blinking. But here's where it gets weird. And by weird, I mean the kind of weird where you start checking whether your homeowner's insurance covers the apocalypse. Here's a little poll. Do you watch Professor Jiang's YouTube? The majority said no. So the spy who went back for seconds. In June 2002, Chinese secret police arrested Jiang while he was filming a workers' protest undercover for PBS. PBS receives partial U.S. government funding, which is the kind of detail that matters when a government is deciding whether you are a journalist or a spy. I'm going to go out on a limb here and suggest that when the Chinese counterintelligence apparatus looks at a Yale graduate working for a U.S. funded media outlet who is secretly filming politically sensitive material, they don't conclude he's there for the egg rolls. They deported him. And so, even though Jiang himself disclosed this in a 2017 CNN op-ed, which Newsweek's glowing profile of him did not find room to mention, perhaps the magazine had a very strict word count that week. Perhaps. And this is a humor column, but at the same time, very serious subject. I'll let you read the rest on your own. I'll put the link up as always. I think you get the point. There are some shady connections here between the Chinese government, the CIA, and Professor Jiang. There's more to all this than just meets the eye. So who do you really work for, Professor Jiang? I'd like to know. Inquiring minds around the world would like to know, since everybody's watching you now. And people don't go viral that quickly. Plus, there's connections to Australia and X accounts down there that he has, and so there's all kinds of shenanigans you can read about him in this particular column. But this is why I haven't really featured him a lot in my videos or my blogs, because even though he's been very, very accurate, it's almost too accurate, and he just rose up out of nowhere. Like, where did this guy come from? Who's really behind him? Who's really pushing this? I'm not saying he's been wrong. He's been really accurate. But there's reasons for that. And that's what I'd like to find out. Anyway, just thought I'd bring this to your attention. And it's a good article. I highly recommend it. Now, moving on to another good article. Exposing the Noahide laws and defending the faith from Jana Benoon. Or Yana. Over on Substack here. She's got her own blog. This is the wife of Steve over at Israeli News Live, of course. Now, she's talking here about the formal U.S. agreement that was made on Tikkun Olam, the hidden Tikkun Olam clause, how a 2022 diplomatic document signed away American sovereignty to a Kabbalistic matrix. And so now you're going to see why Trump has been, and not only because, I believe he's Antichrist, but because of this agreement too. This agreement that was signed by Biden is also binding to Trump. So here we go. I want to talk to you today, she says, about a document that essentially signed over the soul of American sovereignty while most of us were out busy surviving. On July 14th, 2022, Joe Biden stood in Jerusalem and signed a joint declaration with the Israeli leadership. You can read it for yourself on the White House website. But there is one specific phrase buried in the text that should make every American, and especially every Christian, really angry. This document claims that our two nations are guided by the alleged shared values and the Jewish concept called Tikkun Olam. The document is called the Jerusalem U.S.-Israel Strategic Partnership Joint Declaration. There's a link to it right here. And here's a screenshot of it right here, showing the important part about Tikkun Olam repairing the world. So in the world of Jewish religion and Kabbalah, Tikkun Olam phrase has a dark meaning. In the mystical sense, Tikkun Olam isn't about getting along with my friends. It's about rectification of the world through the removal of Gentile religions and values. According to Judaism, the world is broken because divine sparks, aka Jews, are trapped inside the shells of the Gentile nations. To repair the world, those sparks must be extracted, and the shells, our traditions, our faith, and our very sovereignty must be stripped away. It's a mission of spiritual and physical restructuring of the world, not coexistence. This is where it gets personal for us. According to Jewish rabbis, a massive part of this repairing process involves the Noahide agenda. Imagine that. The goal is to move all non-Jews away from their own religious idolatry and bring them under a set of 7 laws governed by a central authority in Jerusalem. Yeah, no more worshiping Jesus Christ. No more saying Christ is king, right? Which is what, who was it? Senator Ted Cruz alluded to last week, saying that the phrase Christ is king is now anti-Semitic, which is ridiculous, but it's Ted Cruz. So here's the wake-up call. In the Kabbalistic mind, the worship of Jesus Christ is classified as idolatry. Yeah, subject to beheading, execution by beheading. In the most authoritative Jewish legal code, the Mishnah Torah, Maimonides' Rambam explicitly connects the repairing of the world to the enforcement of Noahide laws. Maimonides rules that the ultimate goal of the Messiah is to perfect the entire world to serve the Jewish God together. This perfection, tikkun, is achieved specifically by compelling all of humanity to accept the 7 Noahide laws. From this perspective, tikkun olam is the legal repair of a chaotic world by bringing the 70 nations under a single Jerusalem-based legal standard. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, Menachem Schneerson, was the primary 20th century figure who moved the Noahide laws into the public and political sphere. He argued that the only way to achieve true world peace, tikkun olam, was to educate and influence the nations of the world to observe the Noahide laws. And so there you go. I'll let you read the rest on your own, but our sovereignty was signed away to Israel, essentially, on July 14th, 2022. I'll put the link up on the website like I always do. Now, I better give her a like as well. Now, last but not least, there's this story from the Wine Press over on Substack. Very good article, which I think will speak to a lot of you. It's definitely spoke to me. This is something that I ponder just about every day, and some days more than others. Why do we keep doing this? Because of all the apathy out there. Just nobody seems to give a rip anymore. I know that many of you do, the 500 or so that are constantly here and liking, sharing, and subscribing and, telling people about things. I know that there are a few of you that aren't apathetic, but many people are. Many people are. And everyone has seemed to become dead to events and anything evil around them. You guys know what I'm talking about. Those of you listening right now, you've said it in the comments. You've said it to me in emails. People just don't give a rip anymore. They don't. Matthew 24:12 says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And that's what we're seeing right now. Boy, was Jesus ever right about everything, but that in particular today just jumped out because it's so true. The love of many shall wax cold because lawlessness is everywhere. It's another way to say iniquity. So I was listening to a video from a guy named Billy from Perma Pastor's farm today that resonated with me a bit. A Nation of Shrugs, Why Nobody Gives a Damn Anymore is what it was called. He mentioned how he isn't so much stressed out by all the asinine and horrible things we see, hear, and read about daily per se, but the fact that we have a tremendous amount of apathy and amnesia around us. Yeah, absolutely. Especially from the people who've been vaccinated, right? Guys, they can erase your memories just like that with a push of a button and a click of a mouse. They've got all those folks programmed. And we're seeing some of it play out. When they activate the, make that thing stand up, and they make people go do things they don't want to do. But anyway, that's for a different video. But we have this tremendous amount of apathy and amnesia all around us. People can't seem to think anymore. They don't remember things that happened yesterday anymore. But in the video, he says, I got to thinking. You ever notice that nobody ever gets really upset about things anymore? Real things? I mean, like really upset. I mean, not scrolling, not posting, not arguing in the comments. I'm talking about that deep gut level. This ain't the right kind of upset. I'm looking around right now and it feels like we've been trained to react to everything except I think the stuff that really matters. How do we get to a place where a global trafficking scandal involving the ultra-wealthy doing, well, what they were doing? They were eating, doing unthinkable things to children. How does that just fade into the background? How it just fades into the background noise and how an active military conflict just becomes another talking point and the average person feels nothing. Yeah, they've numbed us, not just dumbed us down, but numbed us down. It's like your nervous system goes into defense mode because if you actually stopped and processed every little thing out there, I'm talking about the corruption, the wars, the economic stress, the environmental issues that I'm frustrated about every single day. And every other day, I'm posting about how they're blocking out the sky, and they're doing it now to a lesser degree, but it's still happening. They just changed the formulas a little bit, is what I think. So instead, I think we just numb out. We argue about small things, we pick teams, we get distracted, and then the big stuff, well, it just floats on by. Yeah, like Epstein. And here's the part that should bother you. When people stop reacting to the very big things, then those things don't stop happening. They just happen quietly. No pressure, no accountability, no real consequence because real outrage is a form of pressure. Right now, that pressure's gone. And yes, I would agree. Nobody gets upset about things the way they should anymore because there's so much of it. We are in the Great Tribulation. It's happening right now. And it's overwhelming because we're hit with new crisis every single day. And it's constantly in our face 24/7. That's why we have to unplug from this once in a while. So in some ways, I've been grateful for my tooth infection. It's allowed me to step back a little bit. But at the same time, it's not been a lot of fun. So it's true. There have been times where I've gone through cycles of emotions myself, and I can say this, guys, 110% for me too. From feeling encouraged to discouraged, down and even depressed. Yep. To anger and bitterness, and even at times a bit of apathy myself. And yeah, same here. This whole paragraph is true for me. I've gone through the whole cycle of it, and you guys have too. You tell me about it all the time. Whether it's in the chats on the live broadcasts or whether it's in the comments or emails that you send. I understand, and we're not alone. There have been so many times, so many days, I seriously asked myself and asked God, why am I doing all this labor to report on this stuff? To warn the people around me that could care absolutely less and are willfully ignorant to everything. My son does the same shit to me all the time. I get so tired of it. I'll send him some serious stuff through Messenger and he'll just sit there. But if I send him some kind of meme joke, then he responds. He's like, well, I don't even know if we're in the end times, Dad. Blah, 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 blah. The apathy once again. I get it. People are overwhelmed. I understand that. But my goodness, to be apathetic about some of these things is incredibly ridiculous. So there have been many times, so many days, I seriously asked myself and asked God, why am I doing all this labor to report this stuff when nobody really cares? I think that's probably been the greatest burden and discouraging thing for me is witnessing how it seems no one around us cares. I constantly get family, for example, who all they want to do is argue for argument's sake as a cover for their own lies and conceit. Yep. Check. I know that one too. They know they're wrong. They know they're being lied to, and they themselves are lying, but they'd much rather lash out. Whenever truth is presented, I've been told so many times, can you change it? You're not changing anything, said to me in a condescending tone. Yeah, nothing changes because of people like them. They'd rather hope against hope and idolize politicians and worship statism. Yeah, they'd rather put up flippin' political signs in their front yards and think they're doing their part for Christ. It's absolutely ridiculous. They worship the state. They worship Trump. They worship whoever the politician flavor of the week is. We lived right next door to it for all those years, for 6.5 years, and man, am I glad I'm not anymore. But nothing changes because of people like them. He's absolutely right here. But it's better to shoot the messenger, I guess. Yeah, I get shot all the time. Virtually, I mean. I'm not going to stop speaking out, and neither will I. I'm not going to stop fighting, and neither will I, even if my efforts are so small in the grand scheme of it all. I'd rather go down fighting and standing for what's right than not at all. Exactly. If I'm down to one follower, then so be it. Proverbs 11:3, the integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them. But that's probably the most discouraging thing is the sheer and utter apathy around us, the blatant disregard for everything or anything. It's like when Jesus cried over Jerusalem and the people in it because he knew the city was going to be destroyed, because many of them refused to believe him and would turn on him. Yeah, exactly. As Billy points out, we have a slew of polycrisis unfolding, and it looks as if hardly anyone cares. And a lot of that has to do with sensory overload, which is also true that I just mentioned, and cognitive dissonance, I would say too, because people now are floored because they understand that everything they were taught from the time they were little kids is a lie. And cognitive dissonance actually hurts the brain. I mean, it physically hurts, gives you headaches. We were never meant to handle this much information at once instantly. And people's bodies and minds just tap out because of it. It's true. I reckon I handle it better than a lot of people, and to a fault, I forget that sometimes, myself included. I do handle it better than other people because God has equipped me to handle it. I have an anointing in this area that a lot of people don't, and I forget that sometimes. That other people get overwhelmed faster and quicker than I do. Having said that, so many people choose to remain willfully ignorant, and that drives me nuts too. They want to be lied to. They want their ears tickled, like the Bible says. And nowadays, when a modicum of truth breaches the dam, they crash out, they panic, they lose it, they go nuts. It's wild to watch, like unfed, feral, diseased swine. With the video brought to mind some verses. Ephesians 4:17, this I say therefore, and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth walk, not as other Gentiles walk, in the vanity of their mind, having the understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God through the ignorance that is in them, because of the blindness of their heart, who being past feeling, have given themselves over to lasciviousness, to work all uncleanness and with greediness. But ye have not so learned Christ, if so be that ye have heard him, and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Jesus. This is nothing new and has been the case for millennia, but I think none more so than ever before we are witnessing this. People completely defeated, or deafened, I should say, to understanding and are past feeling. They are apathetic. They are reprobate. Now, as Jannes and Jambres withstood Moses, so do these also resist the truth. Men of corrupt minds reprobate concerning the faith. 2 Timothy 3:8. They are so deaf, dumb, and blind that none of these horrible things we see, hear, and read about affects these people. Well, sure, there's some outrage online, but for the most part, the average person is this anemic zombie that walks vicariously through life without a thought, prayer, or hope as to why they do what they do. I'll let you read the rest on your own. I think you get the point. Wow. Yeah, I would agree with the author here, though. I wonder myself sometimes why I keep going. What's the point? Why am I doing this? And God tells me, John, if we get one more, then it's all worth it. If we wake up one and you bring him into the body of Christ, it's all worth it. And he's right. Of course he's right. Anyway, I thought that was a good thing. This was a good one to bring up today because I think we've all experienced this United States of apathy, no matter what happens. I mean, sure, there was a lot of outrage initially with the whole Epstein thing, but it didn't take too long before people started tuning it out because they just couldn't deal with it all. It is a lot to take in at once. All of this stuff is all going on at the same time. In the 15 years I've been doing this, the news cycle is it has sped up exponentially. So I can't even remember what 2012 or 2011 felt like. I mean, I can remember back to those days and I can think of what I was doing, but to have that feeling, can you imagine what it would be like to teleport back there now with the intense stress that we're under now and this time in 2026? 2012 would be a flippin' cakewalk. Right? I mean, really, that would have been a freaking cakewalk compared to what we're going through now. But we're in the Great Tribulation now. And now we're in an area without time. But the point is, we're here. And the end is rapidly approaching. Leland Jones said the other day, we probably have 4 years left. Well, we'll see. We don't know the day, the time, or the hour, but we know when it's near, even at the door, and it's there. So I'd say any time between now and the next 4 years, Jesus Christ could return. That's how I feel about it, and I'm going to stay ready for it no matter what. So you guys do what you want, but take all of this up in prayer and do all of your own research too. Don't just take my word for things. Go through these articles and search through it yourself to make it real for you. And that will be it for right now. Don't forget, don'tspeaknews.com is home base for all that we do. I put a lot of stuff here. I just don't get a chance to put anywhere else because I can't. Like this one here I just put up this morning. The Mark of the Beast ads laughing in your face. These are things we can't speak about on the main channel. And I put this longer one up yesterday. It has a lot of really good history in it. Iran is winning the war and why they're doing so. This is from a historical perspective. So I've got that and much, much more here on don'tspeaknews.com. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, to the website, there's a subscription box at the bottom of every article, or you can click on this tab here and you can type in your email there, click subscribe, and you're in. And then if you want to contact me, Don't Speak News at ProtonMail is the way to do so. And channel support is right here. We're listener supported only. And I want to thank everyone who's been very supportive of us this past week. And without you guys, we wouldn't stick around. And Rumble, BitChute, Telegram, all of those links are right here. Click on that, and all the places to find us around the internet is right here, including YouTube, which I'll stay there for as long as possible, but there's no guarantees how long that will be. And that will be it for now. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.